What if I told you that the most glamorous race in the world is also the biggest lottery ticket in sports? May 19th, 1996. While 22 drivers were entered for the race, only 21 lined up on the most dangerous street circuit in Formula One. Picture this. 200 miles per hour racing cars threading through Monaco's narrow streets with concrete barriers just inches away. No runoff areas, no margin for error, no second chances. When the checkered flag waved, only 3 cars were still running to cross the finish line. This isn't just another Monaco Grand Prix. This is the day a complete unknown, from 14th on the grid, pulled off the most shocking upset in F1 history. While legends like Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill watched their dreams die in the barriers. The 1996 Monaco Grand Prix didn't just crown an unlikely winner. It exposed the brutal truth about Monaco that the sport tried to hide for decades. And by the end, you'll understand exactly how this single race rewrote the story of the crown jewel of Formula One forever. But to get there, you first need to understand just how impossible this victory truly was. Monaco, in 1996, was supposed to be predictable. Michael Schumacher had just joined Ferrari and claimed pole position with a lap so dominant it reminded everyone of Ayrton Senna's legendary qualifying performances. He was just over half a second faster than Damon Hill. In Formula One, half a second is the difference between a championship-winning car and one that struggles to score points. Hill was leading the championship with 43 points, giving him a 21-point lead over his closest rival, Jacques Villeneuve, after winning 4 of the first 5 races. This was his chance to extend that lead even further. Lining up behind him were the sport's heavyweights, including Jean Alesi and Gerhard Berger for Benetton and McLaren's David Coulthard, all filling out the top 10. The grid was set for a battle among the elite. And then there was Olivier Panis, starting 14th in a Ligier-Mugen Honda that nobody expected to even finish in the points. To put this in perspective, starting 14th means you're deep in the midfield, racing for a team that was essentially F1's equivalent of a small-town basketball team trying to beat the Lakers. Ligier was surviving on a shoestring budget while Ferrari and Williams were spending tens of millions. The French team hadn't won a race in 15 years. Panis had never won a Grand Prix. On paper, he had no business being anywhere near the podium. But Monaco doesn't care about your reputation. And on this day, it was about to prove that in the most brutal way possible. The warm-up session was dry, but between then and the race start, the skies opened up. Not just rain, a torrential downpour turned Monaco's already treacherous streets into a death trap. Here's what makes Monaco uniquely brutal. While other circuits have grass or gravel runoff areas where mistakes are survivable, Monaco has concrete walls. One small slide and your million-dollar car becomes expensive scrap metal. The FIA was forced to add an extra 15-minute acclimatization session because this was the first time rain had fallen all weekend. Drivers who had spent 3 days learning the dry racing line suddenly had to rewrite everything they knew about the circuit. Most teams played it safe, starting on wet weather tires. In 1996, teams had to make these tire calls without modern weather radar or tire warmers. Wet tires work in the rain but overheat and lose grip on a drying track. Slicks are faster on dry surfaces, but become ice skates in the wet. Get it wrong and your race is over. But Jos Verstappen. He gambled everything on slicks, betting the track would dry quickly. It was either going to make him a hero or end his race before it started. As the cars lined up on the grid, you could feel the tension. The rain had stopped, but the track was still soaked. Every driver knew that one mistake, one moment of overconfidence, and their race was over. What none of them realized was that this wasn't going to be a race. It was going to be a survival test that would destroy careers and create legends. The lights went out and immediately chaos erupted. Jos Verstappen's slick tire gamble, dead on arrival. He slid straight into the barriers at Saint-Devote on the formation lap before a single racing lap had even been completed. Then, at the start, the two Minardis, Pedro Lamy and Giancarlo Fisichella, collided with each other coming out of the first corner. But that was just the beginning. Rubens Barrichello spun off at Rascasse, and at Lower Mirabeau, Michael Schumacher, the man who had dominated qualifying, lost control and slammed into the wall. The defending champion was out before completing a single racing lap. 6 drivers were eliminated, all on the opening lap. Murray Walker, the legendary commentator, could barely contain his disbelief.
And that's Schumacher! Schumacher! Michael Schumacher is out of the Monaco Grand Prix before the first lap has even been completed!
6 drivers were eliminated. 0 racing laps completed, and this was just the beginning. The race had become a brutal test of survival, systematically eliminating one driver after another. Lap 2, Ukyo Katayama's throttle jammed, sending his Tyrrell into the barriers. Lap 3, Ricardo Rosset joined the growing list of casualties. Lap 5, Pedro Diniz's transmission gave up, making it 9 retirements in the first 5 laps. By lap 10, Gerhard Berger, running strong in third place, suddenly slowed with a gearbox sensor failure. Another championship contender gone, leaving just 12 survivors on the track. Then came the moment that defined just how treacherous these conditions were. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, desperate to overtake Eddie Irvine, misjudged his move at Saint-Devote. The contact damaged his front wing, and another driver's race was destroyed by Monaco's unforgiving nature. The field was being decimated, and still, the carnage wasn't slowing down. On lap 30, Hill makes the perfect call, switching to slick tyres as the track dries. He extends his lead to nearly 30 seconds, a massive gap in Formula One terms. This was supposed to be Hill's moment. His first Monaco victory, extending his championship lead, proving he could win the big races when it mattered most. On lap 31, Martin Brundle spun into the casino barriers, bringing the survivor count down to just 11 cars. No one could predict what was coming next. While chaos reigned behind him, Damon Hill looked untouchable at the front. Lap 40, disaster strikes. Coming out of the tunnel, Hill's engine explodes due to an oil pump failure. Smoke billows from the back of his Williams, and the championship leader is suddenly walking back to the pits with his head in his hands. Murray Walker captured the moment perfectly.
Damon Hill out of the Monaco Grand Prix. He was destined not to win this race.
With Hill now out, the field of 21 starters was down to just 10 cars. John Alesi inherits the lead, and for a brief moment it looks like Benetton might salvage something from this chaos. But Monaco wasn't finished. By lap 60, just 20 laps later, Alesi's suspension fails, adding another name to the ever-growing retirement list. Suddenly, after 12 of the world's best drivers had fallen, Olivier Panis found himself leading the Monaco Grand Prix. Let's be clear about what was happening here. Olivier Panis, starting 14th, driving for a team that hadn't won in 15 years, was leading the most prestigious race in Formula One. This wasn't supposed to be possible, but Panis had done everything right. While others crashed, he stayed calm. While others made desperate moves, he picked his moments perfectly. His overtake on Eddie Irvine at the Lowe's hairpin was surgical, contact that sent Irvine into the wall but kept Panis' race alive. The Frenchman had predicted this moment. That morning he'd told his wife, "When I woke up and saw the rain, I said I'll finish on the podium today." She thought he was crazy. Starting 14th at Monaco? Impossible. But Panis understood something others didn't. Monaco in the wet isn't about speed, it's about survival. And he was the master of staying alive when everyone else was dying. With 10 laps to go, his fuel warning lights started flashing. The team was screaming at him to pit, but Panis knew that one extra pit stop would cost him 25 seconds and hand victory to someone else. Instead, he asked his engineer a simple question. "Just tell me the time I need to do each lap to finish the race with the fuel I have in the car." He then gave them his own response to their plea to pit, a quote that perfectly summed up his all-or-nothing mindset. "Look, we can be heroes or we can end up looking ridiculous. I don't stop." What followed was a masterclass in fuel management. Panis had to lift off the throttle on straights, short shift through gears to save fuel, and coast into corners, all while maintaining enough speed to stay ahead of David Coulthard. It's like trying to win a marathon while rationing your last sips of water. But Monaco still wasn't finished with its victims. Luca Badoer and Jacques Villeneuve collided at Mirabeau, eliminating both cars and leaving just 7 runners. Then, in the final laps, came the moment that perfectly encapsulated this race's brutality. Eddie Irvine, who had rejoined after his earlier contact with Panis, spun at the same corner where his teammate Schumacher had crashed hours earlier. As he tried to rejoin the racing line, Mika Salo crashed into the back of the Ferrari. Mika Häkkinen, following closely behind, had nowhere to go and joined the pile-up. 3 more cars eliminated in one incident. The field was down to just 4 survivors. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, running dead last and laps behind, decided there was no point continuing and pulled into the pits on the final lap. When the checkered flag finally waved, only 3 cars crossed the finish line, out of 21 starters. Olivier Panis had done the impossible. Starting 14th, he'd survived when legends couldn't. His Ligier crossed the line with literally no fuel left. The car never started again after he stopped it in front of the podium. This wasn't just a big win, it was one of the greatest upsets in F1 history. Imagine the equivalent in another sport. A rookie nobody had ever heard of beating Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, while almost every other star player gets injured. That's the scale of Panis' victory. This was a complete rewriting of what we thought was possible in Formula One. While French legends like Alain Prost had won here before, it had been 8 years since a Frenchman stood on the top step of the podium. Now, an unexpected hero had conquered the principality. Murray Walker's commentary said it all.
Olivier Panis for Ligier-Mugen Honda, a wonderful fillip for the French team and their Japanese engine supplier, exits the Rascasse to win the 1996 Monaco Grand Prix, an incredible result. Oh, look at that for joy.
David Coulthard finished second, 4.8 seconds behind, having closed the gap in the final laps but unable to find a way past on Monaco's narrow streets. Johnny Herbert completed the podium for Sauber, the only other car to see the checkered flag. But the real story wasn't just Panis's victory, it was what this race revealed about Monaco itself. For decades, Monaco had been sold as the crown jewel of Formula One, the glamour, the history, the prestige. But the 1996 race exposed the brutal truth that the sport had been hiding. Monaco isn't just difficult, it's a lottery. Other circuits test pure speed and racecraft. Silverstone rewards bravery through high-speed corners. Spa demands precision in changing conditions. But Monaco tests something different entirely. Your ability to survive when physics, weather, and pure chance conspire against you. It's why drivers call it the ultimate lottery ticket. A place where the best drivers in the world can be eliminated by factors completely beyond their control. Where a single drop of rain can turn champions into spectators. This race proved that Monaco rewards survival over speed, luck over skill, patience over aggression. It's not the ultimate test of driving ability, it's the ultimate test of who can avoid disaster the longest. The FIA was horrified with only 3 finishes in the sport's most prestigious race. This wasn't the image Formula One wanted to project, but it was the reality of what Monaco had always been. A beautiful, dangerous anachronism that could destroy careers in an instant. The 1996 race changed how we talk about Monaco forever. No longer could anyone claim it was purely about skill. This was proof that sometimes the best driver doesn't win. Sometimes the last man standing does. Olivier Panis never won another Grand Prix. That single victory at Monaco remained the highlight of his career. He'd proven that in Formula One, on the right day, with the right conditions, anyone can become a legend. The 1996 Monaco Grand Prix stands as the ultimate proof that this sport, for all its technology and precision, can still be beautifully, brutally unpredictable. It's why we watch. It's why we care. Because sometimes the impossible happens. 29 years later, no race has matched the chaos and drama of that wet Sunday in Monte Carlo. And maybe that's for the best, because some moments in sport are so perfect in their imperfection that they should never be repeated. The 1996 Monaco Grand Prix changed Monaco forever, and it reminded us why we fell in love with Formula One in the first place. If this story of the ultimate underdog victory and Monaco's most chaotic day proves that anything can happen in Formula One, smash that like button, drop your thoughts on the greatest upset you've ever witnessed in the comments, and subscribe because the sport's most incredible stories are just getting started.